Hello and welcome to Break Panel Sports. I solemnly have to tell you that the Niners-Chiefs Super Bowl is upon us. It happened.
Ridiculous.
We had our championship
Ridiculous.
games, AFC, NFC championship, and I came on here and I said Ravens-Lions, and the opposite happened. So I'm wrong, okay? I'm very wrong about my game picks. Do not
We all
trust
were.
me. Do not trust me on these game picks. But I think we kind of ended up getting to the point where we said, hey, what do we not want to happen? Or out of all the matchups, because this is still going to be a good game, out of all the matchups that could happen, what did we not want? And we said Ravens, or we said, that's my alarm that I actually forgot to turn off. But I think it's the one that we just said, yeah, that's probably going to be the one that happens.
That was the worst possible outcome that happened last night. Like
Yes.
I don't know if you could tell, but we are not in a good mood right now.
No,
And
it's
not,
also very early in the morning.
well, yes, but also like 98% of Americans that care about football, this is not a great day. It's
No.
just not a great day.
I also just hate personally Super Bowl rematches.
I hate that. Oh my, it happened like what, like 4 years ago, 3 years ago?
Pats Eagles was one. There was a few.
LA Rams and the Bengals,
Well, the
and
Bengals
then
that had never been that had never happened before.
no,
Uh,
I know, but I'm saying like that was like the I feel like that
right,
was
that
like
was
the
a
last
unique
like
one. That was unique.
yeah,
Yeah. We
very
could just, I
good
mean, we
Super
could,
Bowl
yeah.
there.
Everybody was saying, "Oh my God, Ravens Niners, a Super Bowl rematch," and then you realize that nobody from those teams are still
No one
on. The only person, human being that is still that if it was this Chiefs Niners Super Bowl, I guess it was a little more recently. Or no, what am I doing?
but here's
Chiefs
that
Niners.
this has to be like one of the few Super Bowls. I don't
Yeah.
care who wins. I really don't care who
Oh, I
wins.
care. I mean, I have my
I
personal.
don't.
I mean, but yeah, I mean, this is still a similar Niners
Well, you just don't like Brock
fans.
Purdy though.
I'm just a broad. Yeah, I'm on the. I have to stand on business a little bit. I can't just say what I said about Brock Purdy last episode and then say, "Oh man, it's such an inspiring story how he went from Mr. Irrelevant to the Super Bowl. Isn't that just
I
great?"
don't care.
Yeah,
Like I
I'm
don't
done.
care.
I'll give him his
I don't
credit.
care.
I mean, he had it's the same thing. Okay, let's start with the NFC Championship then, Joel. We're kind of
Go
going in
ahead.
reverse order of the games. Lions were up 24-7. It should have been 27-7 because Dan Campbell should have kicked the field goal, and they probably go on to win this game. The Lions were in position. They could have did it. They could have absolutely won this game. They could have went to the first Super Bowl in franchise history. We would be getting Goff Mahomes, I guess, sure, but we would be getting probably a way better storyline, in my opinion. The city of Detroit itself is a storyline, but the Lions and Dan Campbell want to be. They think they're going to Vegas, so let's start gambling a little bit. Let's start going nuts a little bit. Can we play sound football in the NFL, Joel? I'm
You don't
tired
understand how
of the going for it on fourth down analytics in moments where you don't need to use it. These coaches try to do too much. These coaches try to they want to make the big play call. They want to be Doug Peterson winning that Super Bowl. Sometimes you just make the right decision when you're
I
up by so many points. If it was a tie game or something, sure, but you're
I
up
hated this game.
24-7.
I hated this
Take
game
the
so much.
kick.
I hated this game so much. I despised that second half so much. You know what? You want to know what just irked me the most about this game?
Yeah, let
So
me
here's
hear
the
it.
thing. So okay, Lions were up 21-7,
Yep.
right? They're about to go into the half. They're like 2, 3 yards away from the goal line. They didn't have to kick a field goal. They didn't have to do that. They could have gone for it
Right.
and potentially get a touchdown. But Dan Campbell with his big arms, I saw him do it. He
Right.
was like, you know what? Go for the field goal. Go for the field goal. Go for the
Yeah.
field goal. I'm like, okay, so he understands the mentality of you need to adapt to the game. You're
Yeah.
up by 14. Just kick the field goal. You're right there. It's not that big of a deal. And we'll go into the half up by 17. Completely abandons that when they come back from the locker room. Completely abandons that mentality. Just completely abandons. I'm like, so you were adapting to the game
Right.
because here's what I think, and this is what I'm going a little off topic here, but this is what I hate the most about what's going to be happening all day today. As we're filming, the game happened last night, if you couldn't tell, but the thing that's going to happen all day, you're going to hear analysts say, "Well, that's just what they do." That's what they do. They've been doing it all year long. That's the Lions. That's the Dan Campbell mentality. They're doing it all year. You
Yeah.
know what? Sometimes you gotta abandon that when you are playing for the Super Bowl. You are a game away from the Super Bowl, somewhere you've never been to, and it's like, you know what? We're playing against one of the best loaded teams all year. Why don't we just try to maintain this lead instead of just, oh, we're going for it. We're going
Yeah.
for the kill. We're going for it. We're going for it. Like, oh my God. Like, I don't get it. I don't understand. And it's like, I understand he's saying after the game, like, oh, I don't regret any decisions that we made. I don't regret it. I don't regret it. I understand that you got to, like, stand by your word.
Right.
I understand that
Live by the sword,
also.
die by the sword. Yeah.
Yeah, live by the sword, die by the sword. Exactly. But it's like, dude, at some point, just say it's on you.
Right.
Just say it's on you. Because if you don't make that call, hell, we be talking about how Detroit and the Chiefs are going to be like one of the best Super Bowls we've ever seen. Now
Right.
it's not going to happen.
And you know who
Like,
took accountability? Lamar in that game. We're going to get to that
Lamar
game as
took,
well.
yeah,
Lamar, that was a phenomenal press conference after a game. He was
yeah, it was
just
cool.
so solid and steady. And just, yeah, this is what happened. And like, he got asked about the pick. This is what happened. This is why I did that. This is why I tried to have him make a play and didn't work. And it's just great accountability. But Dan Campbell kind of, I mean, he's on 1,100 milligrams of caffeine every day.
Oh
So
my
he's
God.
always going to be you've seen it. He has the two coffees with the triple espresso shot. That is Dan Campbell. And I've always respected his. I mean, I think we both. I think it's clear that we both respect how aggressive of a play caller that
I
he's
like
been all
Dan
season
Campbell. I
long.
think everyone does.
I'm a huge Dan Campbell guy, especially. I mean, early on, I was we all I was on the train of he's going to turn this franchise around, and he has. I mean,
Yeah.
I think a lot of Lions fans, yes, you're disappointed in the fact that you were up by so much and you should have just taken that field goal and you couldn't get the stops you needed to get, right? But I think they're satisfied with getting this far. I mean, after so many years of pain and suffering and awful football, and by the way, the Dan Campbell quote of "This might be our last shot" it was taken out of context. Don't worry about that quote. Don't worry about
Oh
that
no,
quote.
I watched the whole thing. I know they took that completely out of
Yeah,
context.
it was really bad. How they took that out. I mean, the quote graphic meme creators of Bleacher Report and everybody, they are just
Yeah.
they're trying to cook. And I mean, I guess they did because I talked about it. My bad. So the Lions, they fumbled the bag. Huge. They should be in this Super Bowl. It should be Lions Chiefs. We should be getting that. But hey, how about those Niners,
I
right? How
I
about
will.
Brock Purdy, 20 of 31, 267, a touchdown and a pick? How about Chris McCaffrey taking the ball 20 times? Debo Samuel's return. He looked pretty good. But Joel, would you say that the Niners offense looked great?
No,
It just
no,
looked
it
they
didn't.
just did
It did not
enough.
look good. Like, I okay. You want, like, I've seen a couple people talk about how Brandon Ayuk was playing like Jerry Rice out there, which, don't get me wrong, he had a good game.
He caught 3 catches, caught
Th-
3 balls.
What the hell are we talking about here,
Who's saying that?
dude? eh,
Find me their Twitter.
Oh no, 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 no. What I'm saying is, like, when you look at the yardage, when you look at the touchdowns that he's had,
Oh yes,
one of the things that was really pissing me off about that game was right after that miss, fourth and goal or
yep,
whatever it was that they had the turnover, and Brock Purdy just throws a Hail Mary, should have been intercepted, and it
yes.
bounces off a helmet, catches. I'm like, what the,
Well,
like,
what's
you gotta
happening?
be kidding me.
Right,
You gotta be
but
kidding me.
to I mean we've kind of mentioned my Brock Purdy anti-train. I mean again I don't know how to put I'm trying to put it in the right way without completely ragging on the guy because I respect his journey, I respect everything he's done. But
Rag on
when
him.
what I'm but I'm getting there. But when people were talking about Brock Purdy, he made such a great throw. People were putting that play, that Brandon Ayuk touchdown, was saying, "Man, Brock Purdy's a baller." I mean, what are we doing? What are we? That was a pick. That was a bad ball. It was a pick. It was a phenomenal play by Ayuk. It was a bad throw by. It was probably the worst throw of the night, and that wasn't even a top five worst throw if you take the Packers game into account in his playoff run. I will say, but I mean, Brock again, another game where Brock Purdy doesn't look sharp for 3 quarters. He goes on a solid drive because the other team kind of hands him a really good opportunity. He takes advantage, and so does Christian McCaffrey. Yeah, they did it. They got it done. They found a way to win the game. Brock Purdy made a really nice run at the end of the game. I get that, but I really am ready for this Niners offense to face a real defense in the Kansas City Chiefs because this Lions
I
secondary is not good and they barely carve them up. And the
I will
Packers
say
defense
though,
needs development. Yes.
I understand that we're talking about, Dan Campbell and going for it on fourth, and then, just like that kind of ruined them. If Josh Reynolds doesn't drop those balls,
Yeah.
we would not be having this conversation anymore.
Yeah. No, he won't.
I'm sorry, but like, do you understand how many drop balls there were in this game for the
Yeah.
Lions? That was insane to me. How many, like, you catch those, you probably win the game. Like,
Game's over.
ridiculous.
The Lions had so many chances and they blew it. This is just one. The takeaway is not, oh man, the Niners, man, look at the Niners.
No,
The,
no one, no.
the takeaway
That's
is
the
the
thing.
Lions just stunk it up in the second
That's what
half.
sucks even more because it's like we should be talking about like, oh yeah, look at San Francisco looked really good. They didn't, not
Right,
really. They
right.
didn't look all that great. You look at and same with game we'll get into later with Kansas City. It's like, oh, we should be talking about how, oh yeah, Kansas City, yeah, they look like the real dynasty. Baltimore, they beat themselves here. What are we talking about?
Yeah, I would say. I mean, the Chiefs. Here's my thing: the Chiefs looked a lot better than the Niners offensively. I mean, Mahomes, his
I
efficiency was
suppose.
off the charts to start off that game. I mean, the offense sputtered, and I guess you got to be a little bit worried about the run of Kansas City in this upcoming game that we're going to get into. And Zay Flowers, he handed the Chiefs this victory. He handed it to them,
You
just
sure he wasn't wearing a red
100%.
Jersey?
He might have
You,
been.
you
He might have been.
sure he had to have been wearing a Chiefs jersey under that
Yeah,
purple. He
he
had to
might have
be.
been. Also, Munkin, this is one of the worst called games offensively I've seen. We're going to get into it. We got to get our final thoughts about Lions Niners though. So I think we agree this is not really. I would say that these games were good, but it wasn't good football for the most part.
No,
That's what I kind of took away from it. I wasn't a huge. I mean, I was entertained by the games. I really enjoyed the games. Um, and I was very okay with the Chiefs being the 3 o'clock and the Niners being the 6:30. It kind of worked out. But when it comes to the Lions and their season ending, I mean, going forward, they have to first off, I think you might have to let CJ Gardner Johnson go. He's going to ask for a lot of money. We'll see where they go with him. They got to add some secondary guys though. They got to bolster this defense. They have a great backfield, quarterback, offensive line, tight end. They got to fix this defense up because if they can make a few more plays in that secondary, they win this game by a
you
country
you
mile.
um you extending Jared Goff?
You have to. You don't, what other
I
quarterback
think so too.
option do you have at this point? You just have to rock with Jared Goff. He had a great season. I mean, the first 5 weeks of the season, he was in the MVP conversation. He was
Yeah,
playing so good. So yeah, you keep whatever you got to do to keep Jared Goff. I think they're going to let Gardner Johnson walk, especially after him waving to the crowd when they're up 20-7, and then they ended up losing. But
cut Cam
however,
Sutton. That man is
Cam Sutton is gone. Yeah,
ah.
they have to completely retool this defense. And when it comes to the secondary, that's really what's got to happen in Detroit. Because here's my thing: as much as we want the result to be different, if the Lions ended up playing the Chiefs, and you give Pat Mahomes a chance to go against that secondary. I know the receivers haven't been that great for Kansas City. I think the Chiefs probably win that game by a good bit, just because of how good Pat Mahomes is. I mean, you have obviously, yes, the Chiefs had lost to the Lions first week of the season, but with how well how efficient Kansas City is playing offensively, I think Detroit probably loses that game by a bit. I don't know, but I think that's our piece on these Lions and Niners, Joel. I think I've said my piece on it. I can't. I mean, Brock Purdy. So
It's
fine.
frustrating,
I'll
man.
get one.
It's frustrating.
I'll get one more piece about Brock Purdy. And how about that? Um, sure. We watched a lot of quarterbacks over the years just do enough, just make enough plays, make enough throws, right? But I think what irks me so much about Brock Purdy because it's not so much him and what he says, right? But for one, if I've never called the man a game manager, I don't use that term. I don't like that term because that's just called playing quarterback. Okay, that's just what you do when you're a quarterback. You manage the game, you get things done. I think people just say, "Oh, If he runs, he's a superstar quarterback that deserves everything. And if he's a pocket passer, he's a game manager. No, Brock Purdy can move, by the way, a lot. And he's making a lot of right plays. His accuracy is near the bottom of the league, especially in these playoffs. He's the least accurate quarterback in these entire playoffs, right? Just based on what we've seen and how we've seen him play. When we were saying Joe Flacco and Eli Manning and all these other guys that have made good runs as quarterbacks of his stature and his ranking, nobody was saying this guy is a top 5 quarterback, right? It was MVP candidate when guys when
MVP.
Nick Foles was making a run. Even this season with Gardner Minshew, nobody was even talking about him at all. But just because you see a few more wins in the win column, I think people just ignore how he played for 3.5 quarters, for 3 quarters in the game. You see him go on a final drive, make one play at the end, and say, this guy is a top quarterback. Stop calling him a game manager. No, I'm just calling him an average quarterback. And that's what he is. All this team needs is an average quarterback. So I think, like, it's not so much, Brock. I kind of want to see Brock Purdy lose just so I can stop hearing about this and stop hearing about this discussion. And this guy didn't look like he didn't look like a great quarterback. He didn't look like anybody that has ever made the Hall of Fame. He didn't look as good as any quarterback that played yesterday. Lamar didn't play as well, but he's not playing very well. And people at second the game's over, it's like, stop calling Brock Purdy a game manager. Stop doing this. Stop doing it. It's like, he's just playing all right.
I saw a
Let him
couple
play all
comments.
right.
I saw a couple comments on like a bunch of like, when they were announcing, the Niners win, all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
I see before this, everyone was talking the way you were talking about like, Brock is not Brock, he's okay. If
Yeah.
I had all these weapons, I'd be good, whatever. And
Right.
then all of a sudden, I see all these comments. Oh, Brock Purdy is him.
Right.
Brock Purdy is this. I'm like,
You said,
where did you guys come from? I never heard anyone saying this before. Now everyone's saying it. Like, you
right.
guys were hiding forever. Like, come on now.
Right.
You didn't even believe it for a
It's just all
minute.
the Niner fans coming out the woodworks, right? We were, yes, I think that he's playing better than Jimmy Garoppolo was during the run. When you kind of look at, because Jimmy Garoppolo, that was,
I think, yeah, I think he's playing better. I think
if you
he's
want to
playing
talk
better than
about
Jimmy too.
game manager, if you want to use that term, finally, sure, I guess if there's an example of that, it was Jimmy G. But
Yeah, Jimmy's probably
you
definitely
just
bad.
say game manager because he made a lot of mistakes. I don't think people know what that term means. I think that's my problem. I've never have I ever called Brock Purdy a game manager on this show?
I believe so.
If
I
I
mean,
said it,
well,
if
I
I
mean,
said it,
wait.
I haven't said that. I haven't used game manager. I'll
I
go
know
back
I
and
did.
listen.
I know I did in the last episode, but I'm not exactly sure if I
I'm
might be
nine.
misquoting.
You
I
know
don't.
what? If somebody goes back and finds me saying Brock Purdy's a game manager, send it to me and I will I'll just cry. I don't know. But if I said it, I take it back. I don't like the term, so I'm not using it. Goodbye. Um, yeah, Jimmy Garoppolo, that was just not a good run by him at all.
Like you could tell Brock Purdy's at least playing better than what Jimmy was. Like
Right,
you could
but
tell
that's
that. At least.
right, but that's like a new napkin being better than a used napkin. It's just I don't get it.
Still a
Um,
napkin.
it's still yeah, it's just a napkin. It's just a solid quarterback who makes the right throws more often than not. But when you talk about poor quarterback play, and you look at Lamar Jackson, right? You look at the box score, and I know it's going to sound really weird when I say this. People are going to say, "Oh, well, Brock Purdy, why are you just giving Lamar?" I guess I'm not giving Lamar a pass. I'm not giving Lamar a pass. He still played poorly compared to what he's supposed to play like, and that interception was beyond awful. It was what is the worst throw of the entire playoffs. He tried to get the PI call. Why is likely putting up his hand because there's 3 guys on him? I don't get it. 20-37. There were a lot of drop screens. There were a lot of just missed plays, missed opportunities. This again, when it comes to play calling, Joel, this was just bad.
I was frustrated with this game. I mean, I was frustrated with both games, but
Yeah,
when 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 you're looking at look at how this team got to where they're at. Just look at how they got to where they're at.
yeah.
What's one of the one things about the Ravens that you're like, oh, I think they do this better than any team in the NFL?
Run the
The
ball.
run game. The run game. Completely abandoned the run game. I don't understand what the logic was there.
Yep.
I don't
Joel,
understand.
how in the world is Gus Edwards getting 3 carries.
He had 3
Why
carries.
in the world, when you were in 3rd and 2 situations, are we giving the ball to Justice Hill? You have Gus Edwards. His name, he's literally Gus the Bus. And in a situation where you need a bus, you're driving a Honda Civic. What are we doing?
The Ravens are like, I don't even know how to explain it. The Ravens are one of those teams where, like, like they're a Bugatti, right? Like they're that awesome car. They got all the makings of like a fantastic car, but when it comes to like getting on the highway, they're always on like the right 2 lanes. They never go to the left lane. They're always on the right. They don't live up to their full potential.
Yeah.
That's all I'm getting at here. That's why I look at the Ravens and I'm like, Lamar, listen, you look at the big plays that they had. It was mainly when Lamar was running the ball.
Yes, they should have ran the ball so much more.
That's why I'm like, don't get me wrong. I understand if you're worried about injuries and all that stuff. We're playing for the Super Bowl here.
Right.
Run the ball. Run the ball. I don't know what you guys are thinking. Like the amount of times that Lamar, and he doesn't do this all that well, throwing deep. He doesn't do it all that well because, well, first of all, the receivers that he's got.
Yeah.
When it came to the point where I believe it was in the 4th quarter, I believe it was early in the 4th quarter, he threw a ball 40 yards, 30 yards, whatever it was, to Odell Beckham, went completely over Odell's head, right? Went completely over it.
Right,
but
trying to throw outside the numbers, yeah.
But Odell was like trying to get his arm caught on the corner to draw a PI call.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is this where we've gotten to? We're actually like trying to get calls.
That's what they were doing.
Why?
That's what Lamar said on the Isaiah Likely target that was intercepted. He said, "Just trying to get PI." Why are you risking a pick?
I don't even think that's true at all. First of all,
that's what he said.
No. I understand that's what he's saying. I don't think that's true. What he's saying.
Right, he could be using it. No, I believe Lamar in that moment because that's what players do now.
Because I'm looking at,
we're trying to get calls instead of get plays. I don't get it.
Like, sure, you can blame Lamar for throwing that ball. I get it, but I even said it yesterday in our TikTok. Make sure to look at that up. But why is Isaiah Likely calling for the ball with 3 guys there?
Right, his hands up.
Why are you putting your hand up for what?
Right,
because
when you do that, Lamar looks up. If he sees Isaiah Likely's hand up, if any quarterback sees a hand up and he's like, oh, I see him over the defender. He doesn't have time. That's just not how the NFL works.
Yeah, he's gonna throw it.
To look to his left and see the 2 guys coming. He's gonna see, Likely got. Oh my God, there's 3 guys there. That's just, I put that more so on Isaiah than I did Lamar.
So do I. I think that's ridiculous.
Yeah, that was really. I mean, it's just like, it wasn't just like instinct to call for the ball. Maybe he didn't see the defenders either, but that was a very bad call for the ball.
We haven't even gotten into Zay Flowers yet. Talk about.
I mentioned it.
Oh my God.
I'm just.
And here's the thing. I look at you when you look at the box score, right? Because you're gonna get a lot of people that are like, well, not Isaiah Likely, sorry. Yeah. When Zay Flowers, he's the only one that was doing anything for them.
5 catches, 115 yards and a touchdown. If you saw that.
I'm sorry, but why are you catching the ball? You make it all the way to the 10. You're about to score, and then you get up and start flexing. Yeah. Now, here's the thing. You throw the ball at the man's head. I don't like those taunting calls. I do like for players to express themselves. The referees are going to call that 99 times out of 100. What? You know they're going to call it.
Yeah.
And then you push them back to the 25. Like, they would have had a touchdown if you weren't being an idiot. And then for you to fumble? Oh my God. Like, I agree that the run game should have been used a lot more in this game, but I don't see how you don't put a lot of this on Zay Flowers. I don't see how you put a lot of this loss on Zay Flowers. Ridiculous.
I put 80% of this game on Zay because your defense took on Kansas City, the Chiefs. This is the Chiefs we're talking. This is Pat Mahomes. 17 points. If you hold the Kansas City Chiefs to 17 points, that is your opportunity to go win this game. That's it. I put a lot of it on Zay. He made the penalty. So it was such a weird sequence, right? He makes that pass. The second you see a ball thrown at a player, flags coming up, and that thing is not getting taken away every single time. When this is not the ACC anymore, Zay. He's a rookie, so he's going to be a very successful player, a very successful receiver, and he's going to make a lot of money on his second contract. And
But
I
you cost us the
still
game.
you lost the game.
You lost the game.
You could have played in the Super Bowl your rookie year if you make the right play. And listen, when you're in that moment, it's football. You're gonna stretch out the ball to try to score. You're gonna do it. It's a great defensive play. It's a great punch out. But that play is probably not set up in the way that it is if that taunting call never happens. And he did. It was weird because he redeemed himself by getting the first down, and then could have scored, and then the ball gets punched out. But a lot of it's and for Zay Flowers also to hurt his hand by smacking a
Out of
table
frustration.
out
Yeah.
of frustration. Listen, I get it. I understand why he was frustrated at himself, but I mean, what do receivers use? They use their hands. You have
Your
to be able to
hands.
protect your hands.
Come on, man.
In that
That's what we're
moment,
gonna
I
be
mean,
doing.
again, he's a rookie, and I think that's where the fault happens because well, the Ravens are trusting a rookie wide receiver to be their top ball pass catcher when you have a chance to go to the Super Bowl. So that's the exposure in this Ravens offense, and they are going to have to. And they also they had some key plays. They had some key conversions to make. They're going to Rashad Bateman, who's been who's probably not going to have a job in a couple years.
But irrelevant. He's irrelevant.
I mean, yeah, this Ravens team that was their weakness was their receiving core. It still is. They're going to have to draft receivers in this draft.
Well, and here's the thing
I
too.
would like them to draft two.
That that was the concern going into the season.
Yes, it was like how
Keep
good
that
is
in
they
mind.
going to be?
Yeah, because and it's like when Odell got signed and you wonder like, oh, why did they give him this much money?
He's
Because
done nothing.
he was probably quote unquote probably going to be doing a lot for them because there's
Yeah,
not that many good receivers on this team, and he really didn't do all that much for them.
he's done nothing. He did
He's
nothing.
done nothing
And you
because
shouldn't have expected him to do anything because he's an old receiver with no knee.
and everyone knew this, but they still signed him to that big old contract anyway.
Because they had to get somebody in the building, Joel.
That's
They had to get
ridiculous, man.
somebody in the building. Well, again,
Ridiculous.
what was when the Ravens won the Super Bowl with Joe Flacco? I mean, you could name the receivers on that team.
Well, also when you have a quarterback that's a running back, why would receivers want to go there anyway?
Whoa, Joel.
I know, okay, that was a little too far. But I'm just saying,
Whoa.
I'm just saying.
The narratives.
I'm just saying when you got why do they not have any big free agent wide receiver signings? Because
Yeah,
you're not gonna get the ball out that much.
yeah. I mean, they're committing so much money to that defense too. And the Lamar contract's obviously going to mess with that as well. However, again, I just want to shout out the defense, and I need to say something. I need to say something, Joel. I think 3 years from now, when we're talking about who the best defensive player in the NFL is, I think it's going to be Kyle Hamilton by a country mile.
He was awesome.
He was awesome. Baller. This guy can do everything. He is. I mean,
he was so good.
He's the best safety in the league.
I think. I don't think that's too far off.
This guy is so awesome. I mean, the Ravens always have great secondary players, and to go on a short break from Ed Reed to go to Kyle Hamilton, the modern Ed Reed, I guess, if you want to call it that, even though no one's ever going to hit as hard as he did because the rules are the rules now. But to have such a good hybrid safety that can really just do anything and makes every tackle and it's just that I mean, if you're a sports card person, I would buy some if you haven't already. I would look into trying to get some Kyle Hamiltons, some good Kyle Hamilton cards because this guy's going to be so good. He's going to it's a Hall of Famer. So shout out to Kyle Hamilton. You have a long career ahead of you. The Ravens lost, and let's just touch on the Chiefs a little bit. So the offense of Kansas City, it sputtered. I mean, it didn't look really all that well. In terms of being explosive, it was efficient, but they struggled to be explosive. They had some good plays with Travis, but again, there just wasn't that big play factor that we usually have with the Kansas City team, Joel.
I think one of those things that just really messed with my head was just how much Travis Kelce was getting open that he wasn't even running all that fast.
Right.
He really would like there were guys that were just kind of giving him so much space. He
Yeah.
I don't know what he finished the game with, but I saw he had like 11 targets,
Yeah.
11
Yeah.
catches
11
for
catches,
100 plus.
116 yards
uh,
and a ton.
Like what? I'm like, what? How does
However,
this happen?
I don't like the a lot of people say it's like he's not even running, he's not even really running that hard. He's not even running that fast. He's just such a good route runner. He might be the
He,
best route runner in NFL history.
I see DBs that were keeping their eyes on Kelsey the entire time
Yeah.
and still gave him like a good 5 feet of
Because
space.
he's just
And I'm
so
like, what?
good.
Why
He's
are you
just
giving
so
him so
good.
much space?
Because they kind of have to. It's just because if you press up on him, he's going to go over the top and catch a ball on you. But he's such a good route runner that you kind of have to. It's just impossible to guard that guy. But I mean, hey, Fred Warner going against him in the Super
Uh,
Bowl. That's going to be something. I think the Chiefs. I don't even think there's much to say about that team
Everyone knows
because
that they are.
the defense looked really good. Okay, maybe the run game's got to be a little bit better in the next game. Isaiah Pacheco didn't have his best night. He had a touchdown, which was good for our Vegas people. But yeah, this is the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs and the Niners, Joel. Let's just get into it. I'm gonna say something, and I think it's gonna be a little bit out there. I think Kansas City wins by 2 scores in this game. I
Okay,
I don't think it's gonna be as good of a game as we think. I think it'll be a good game, but I think Kansas City is gonna just click. This defense has kind of not really looked as strong. The D line is not getting a ton of pressure on these quarterbacks as much as they usually do, and I think Kansas City is going to find this is like when Brady would win games 16-13 in the playoffs, and then he would just go out there for 400 yards in the Super Bowl. I think we're getting that, Joel. I
see
really
here.
do.
I really wanted to have like a debate about this, about like who we think is going to win. I am telling you right now, there is no way Patrick Mahomes is gonna go into that that Raiders field and lose to Brock. It's not gonna happen.
No,
I'm telling you right now,
no,
Patrick Mahomes is not gonna allow this to happen. He's going to win. He's gonna win his third Super Bowl. It's gonna happen.
yeah.
Okay. I don't know what we're talking about here. That man's gonna win again.
I mean, the Brady comparisons are happening, and what Brady would just keep. You just knew heading into most of these games,
You
Brady
know
was going to win the game.
I'm getting the same feelings about this game too. I'm like, I just don't see a way that he loses.
Yeah,
I
this
don't see
feels
it.
like when Pats Falcons happened, heading into the game. I know it was 28-3, but I had it's one of those games you head into. It's like you just know Tom
Something's gonna
Brady's going to
happen.
go win this game.
Something's gonna
Heading
happen.
into
You
it
can't.
when it was up 28-3, I think everybody's first reaction was, wouldn't it be crazy if Brady made a crazy comeback right now? Not oh, the Falcons are dominating. It was, oh man, how's Tom Brady going to respond to this? And he did.
I I remember I saw like one of my friends. You know him very well,
Yeah.
but he was telling. I remember during that time where they scored a touchdown or two or something like that. They went to bed because they said, "I already know what's gonna happen.
He got
I
schooled.
already know. I already know what's gonna happen." And then yeah, the
Yeah.
Patriots ended up winning the game.
They had to win the
It's
game.
like because you could just tell what's gonna, and you saw it yesterday. You saw it with the Niners.
Yeah.
Like it's like okay, they get a touchdown, and now they're only down by 7. It's like
Right. Oh.
wouldn't this be nuts if they just came back and they come back and then they win? It's like
Yeah.
you just know what's gonna happen at that
It's
point. You
just
know what's gonna happen.
it's the Taylor Swift era. This is I know she's on the Eras tour, but
Oh,
this
this is gonna
is
suck, man.
she's gonna say that she's gonna say, I know I've been doing a tour about all my eras, but right now, this is my favorite era with Travis.
The- ugh,
It's just
no.
so written in the stars that it's not even funny.
What's
I
the
just
what's like the money line that like if they lose the Super Bowl that she breaks up with Travis? Like
they
what's the
lose.
line here?
I'll set
If
it
they
at
lose,
I'll set the months line at 8.5.
I was gonna say like 7,
7.
like
I mean,
7
now
something.
this is
I mean,
old school Taylor Swift. They break up that night,
and then
but this isn't the old Taylor.
she makes a song about him in the next month.
Right, right, and oh my goodness, Taylor Swift's Travis Kelce breakup song would be her biggest record ever.
Oh my god, that's gonna be
It would
that's
be
gonna
her
be the
biggest
biggest song
record ever.
ever.
It would be her big, and again, she's dropped so many hits.
Because you're gonna have so many NFL fans be like, you know what? Hold on, I want to listen to this real quick.
I gotta check this out. Anybody that hates Kansas City, which is like everybody, is gonna just.
Like,
I need.
This game.
I'm like, honestly, I'd be expecting Taylor to drop 16 bars. I think I have.
It's like, oh, here we go. If I hear downfall.
If I hear like a T Sizzle kind of thing going on where she's just rapping, I mean, that would be awesome.
We're just praying on their downfall. I just would love to see it.
But we know the Chiefs are gonna win.
Chiefs are gonna win. Come on, Chiefs are gonna win.
So we got Kansas City in the Super Bowl here at Break Panel Sports. I've been John, joined alongside Joel. Joel, any final thoughts in about 10 seconds before Zoom kicks me out?
Nothing.
Nothing?
My mind's blank.
Nothing. All right. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your morning, evening, day, night, afternoon, drive, all of that. This has been Break Panel Sports. The Chiefs are winning the Super Bowl. Have a good one.
Goodbye.
Thank you so much for watching this episode of Break Panel Sports, and we are here in the beautiful backyard of our friend Jeff. But I'm John.
And I'm Joel. Make sure to look for more on our Spotify and YouTube. We'll see you next time.